If you have ever stood at an airport security checkpoint watching a TSA officer pull apart every item in someone's carry-on bag, while a long line of frustrated travelers stretch behind them, then you already know how quickly a simple mistake can turn into a stressful travel nightmare. Maybe you have experienced it yourself. Maybe you have watched another passenger desperately explain that they had no idea they packed something incorrectly. Either way, there is one thing that every traveler should understand right now. The rules surrounding electronic devices at airports are becoming more important than ever, and many travelers are still making mistakes that could easily be avoided. Today, we're talking about 3 electronics that continue to create major problems at airport security checkpoints across the United States. These are devices that millions of people carry every day. They are not unusual, rare, or complicated gadgets. In fact, most travelers watching this video probably have at least one of them within arm's reach right now. Yet every day, these items trigger additional screening, delay passengers, cause confiscations, and sometimes even result in travelers missing their flights entirely. And before you think this only affects frequent flyers or business travelers, think again. These rules apply to everyone. They apply to U.S. citizens. They apply to green card holders. They apply to international students, temporary workers, tourists, family visitors, and immigrants returning home after spending time abroad. The airport security checkpoint does not distinguish between different categories of travelers when it comes to safety regulations. Everyone is expected to know the rules and follow them. That is why this conversation matters so much in 2026. Airport security technology is evolving. New screening systems are being installed across the country. Federal agencies are updating procedures. Airlines are becoming more cautious about battery-related incidents. And unfortunately, many travelers are still relying on information they learned years ago, assuming that what worked during previous trips will automatically work today. The reality is that airport security is constantly changing. What was acceptable 5 years ago may not be acceptable today. What one airport allowed last year may be handled differently this year. And while security officers understand that honest mistakes happen, those mistakes can still create serious consequences. Delays, missed flights, confiscated property, secondary screening, and unexpected travel complications can all begin with a simple packing decision made the night before a trip. Now, before we discuss the 3 electronics that cause the most trouble, it is important to understand why these rules exist in the first place. Many travelers see airport security requirements as inconvenient obstacles. They wonder why they have to remove certain items from their bags, or why certain devices cannot be packed where they seem most convenient. But every one of these regulations exists because of safety concerns identified through years of research, testing, and real-world incidents. The Transportation Security Administration and the Federal Aviation Administration are responsible for protecting millions of travelers every day. They evaluate potential risks continuously. They study incidents involving batteries, electronic devices, fires, and security threats. When a rule changes, it is usually because experts have identified a genuine concern that needs to be addressed. Understanding this context makes the rules easier to remember and easier to follow. One of the most significant developments in recent years has been the introduction of advanced computed tomography scanners, often called CT scanners. These machines create detailed 3-dimensional images of carry-on bags and allow officers to examine contents with far greater accuracy than traditional X-ray systems. As more airports install this technology, some screening procedures are becoming more efficient. Certain items that previously required removal may remain inside bags at some locations. However, travelers should never assume that every airport has identical technology or identical procedures. This is where many people get into trouble. They travel through one airport where a laptop can remain inside a bag and assume the same rule applies everywhere else. Then they arrive at another airport using traditional screening equipment and suddenly face delays because they were not prepared for a different procedure. The safest approach is always to understand the strictest version of the rule and be ready to follow it. That way, no matter where you travel, you are prepared. Let us start with the first electronic device that continues to cause problems at security checkpoints every single day: the laptop computer. Most travelers have heard the rule before. They know that laptops are often required to be removed from carry-on bags and placed in separate bins during screening. Yet despite this widespread awareness, security officers still encounter thousands of passengers who leave their laptops buried inside backpacks, briefcases, and carry-on suitcases. The reason this creates problems comes down to how traditional screening equipment works. Laptops contain dense internal components, batteries, circuit boards, wiring, and metal structures that can obscure other objects inside a bag. When these devices remain packed, they can make it difficult for officers to obtain a clear image of the bag's contents. If the image is unclear, the bag may require additional inspection. That inspection takes time. It slows down the passenger involved. It slows down everyone behind them. And in busy airports, even a few minutes of delay can have significant consequences. Imagine arriving at the airport later than planned because of traffic. You rush to the security checkpoint hopping to make your flight, then your bag is pulled aside because your laptop remained inside. Suddenly you are standing off to the side while officers manually inspect your belongings. Your stress level rises, boarding time approaches. What seemed like a small oversight has now become a major source of anxiety. This is why experienced travelers prepare in advance. They keep laptops in easily accessible compartments. They know exactly where the device is located. They are ready to remove it immediately if requested. Even if they encounter a checkpoint equipped with newer CT technology that allows laptops to remain inside bags, they are still prepared for the possibility that an officer may request separate screening. The lesson here is simple but important. Convenience begins with preparation. A few seconds spent organizing your carry-on before leaving home can save you significant frustration at the airport. And as we continue through this video, you will see that the same principle applies to every electronic device we discuss today.